Welcome to the Leather Journey. I'm Dex, and this is Bunny. Bunny's doing a little cameo appearance for us. We're going to let her go off and play. I missed her. We were gone for 3 weeks, traveling, doing workshops, meeting with whip vendors. So I'll tell you a little bit catch you a little bit up on my travels. But before I do that, thanks so much for hanging in with the channel. If you're not subscribed, remember, subscribe, ring the bell. Consider clicking the join button and joining the channel. Channel memberships at the lowest level, 99 cents a month, really means a lot to the channel, and it really helps us out. But what about my travels? Very interesting. We were going to TestFest, and then following that convention in New Jersey, the following weekend we were in upstate New York at Weekend of Wickedness, and both events, I have to say, are excellent. Completely different types of events, so I'll describe a little bit for you. If you've never been to a big convention, I highly recommend TestFest. The Espiegelin Society, I probably mispronounced that. There's a reason why that group is called TES, T-E-S. It's because there's a lengthy German-sounding name that is designed for me to mispronounce. So TES is one of the oldest BDSM-SM organizations in the nation. It's a nonprofit, completely run by volunteers. Every year they have elections periodically. They vote in a president, vice president, all the different officers, and they have committees. And so TestFest is one of the last large BDSM-SM conventions that survived, that's run by committee, completely by volunteers, and no one's getting paid, okay? And so that takes a lot of effort and a lot of coordination, and kudos to them. I've had the privilege of attending twice in my leather journey. 2019, I presented whip workshops there. It was the year that Whips in the Dungeon came out, and I was able to sell a few books there. Did my whip workshops. Dungeon play was excellent. The vending mart was excellent. Hadn't had an opportunity to go back since then until this year. Was invited back. I did 3 whip workshops, a beginning, an advanced, and a 2-handed whip workshop. I will say this about this year's test. The head chair was excellent. Operations was excellent. The staff was excellent. The DMs were good. Dungeon layout was good. There was a couple of things that if they'd asked me, I would have, consulted and advised a little differently on. But the one thing you can count on at TES, or TestFest, is the vendors mart is top notch. They had excellent vendors there. Canes for Pain was there. Agreeable Agony was there. I mention Agreeable Agony because there are very few what I consider elite flogger makers in the country right now, or even in the world. What makes a flogger maker elite as opposed to just good? Well, it's the handle balance. When I came in 26 years ago, Janet Hartwood floggers were all the rage, and in competition with Janet Hartwood floggers, you had Happy Tails out in the San Francisco, California scene. You had Montague in the DC East Coast scene. And between those 3 flogger makers and their handle balance, I got spoiled. So when I pick up a flogger, the first thing I do is I check the balance and I make sure the tails are balanced against the weight of the handle. And Agreeable Agony does that. You might not like their particular handle design, but it's balanced, and that jumps them up to an elite flogger maker category, in my opinion. So all the vendors at TES are great. That's one of the pluses of that convention. The workshops are all top notch. top-notch presenters from around the world. I have declared this the year of the whip. Why do I say that 2025 is the year of the whip? Well, at Southeast Leatherfest in Atlanta, there were 3 whip instructors. I taught a 3-hour whip intensive, and NotQuiteAsian and Sir Valentino both taught whip workshops. To have 3 whip instructors at a single event, and the whip lanes were the bomb. I was able to throw a 6-foot bullwhip indoors in full dungeon play in their dungeon. Kudos to Southeast Leatherfest. TestFest, why was that the continuation of the Year of the Whip? Well, Robert Dante was there. Renowned bullwhip thrower, performer, educator, and author. He taught 3 workshops. My second book on Singletails had just come out in April. I was there. I taught 3 workshops. So to have 2 whip instructors at the same event, again, in my experience, is a rarity. So 2 cons in a row, multiple whip instructors. Turned around the following weekend, went to Weekend of Wickedness, and what did we do? We painted living art. We had volunteer whip catchers standing, and the whip class, the whip throwers, were painting acrylic paints using their cracker on the chest and the back of the whip catchers. It was a very, very, very fun activity, and everybody, I think, loved it. The whip catchers were eye protection. If you play around with gel acrylic, what you're going to find is that there's not as much splatter as you might think. You can actually paint with it and have a lot of fun with it. And then I got to teach a whip workshop. The Weekend of Wickedness event is very unique in that it's the best mid-sized to small event, in my opinion, in the entire world. I think it caps around 85 or 90 people. It has a variety of accommodations, from motel-style rooms that have private bathrooms to garden cabins to communal-style bunkhouses to camping to RV hookups. So there's a lot of options there for your lodging. But what makes that special is the mountaintop there kind of has a spiritual feel, and it certainly does for me. And it's been an opportunity for me to throw my whips unimpeded for a decade and a half. I won't tell you how many whip scenes I threw because I don't want it to seem bragging. And if you heard how many I threw in 4 days, you would go, that's not possible. Certainly not for somebody that's almost 70 years old. But it is possible. I will just say I had 25 dirty t-shirts when I was done. And when I sweat out of a t-shirt, I take it off and put a dry one on. So it's been quite a run of 3 weeks. I don't know if you could tell from the emotion and the excitement in my voice how much fun I've had, but it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for hanging in and hanging around. I haven't put up a video in a while. There's a reason for that. I don't do a video in my hotel room, so just so I can keep you guys engaged. I want you to be engaged in my living room, which is where most of my videos have been made. But ring the bell, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know if you've been to TestFest, what you thought about TestFest. Have you been to Southeast Leatherfest? What you thought about that con? If you haven't been to WoW, read my lips. That is the one convention that you owe it to yourself to do at least once in your life. It's almost like going on an Alaskan cruise to go to that con. It's the Alaskan cruises of SM conventions. As always, thanks for watching The Leather Journey.